If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatterspodcast1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Just a question of taste with you, well, if you've gone sour, you want the world plus everything, but it won't work an hour. And now your questions are guilt creeping and you're going buying flowers. You throw away the dreams we had, boy, I won't allow it. I said we're gonna fall out. Let's see you get out. I think we're gonna fall out, so shut your mouth.
Good evening, welcome to an Amigos Meets the Professionals tonight. Mitch will be joining us in about 5 minutes, but we just felt a 30-minute show tonight just to calm the nerves and to have a quick chat about the big semi-final second leg tonight was needed. How are you all feeling out there? Are you nervous? Are you biting your nails yet? I've bitten my beard off, been that nervous about the game. But it's 8 o'clock kick-off. It is live on Sky Sports tonight, of course, and no coverage on ITV. They've gone for the Liverpool Spurs game on Thursday night for the live coverage on ITV. But injuries to key players. Well, we know that Jamal Lascelles is on a long-term injury, and we know that we're still going to be without Harvey Barnes tonight. But is Callum Wilson going to be fit enough to be on the bench? There was suggestions by Eddie Howe that he might be. Joe Linton, of course, publicised wearing a knee brace, but he stopped short of ruling him out entirely from this game. So it'll be interesting to see whether Joe Linton has any part to play. As for Arsenal, well, Gabriel Jesus, Bukayo Saka and Ben White are all unavailable. But as I mentioned on a previous show, Miles Lewis-Kelly had his red card overturned, so he is available. And before the game, of course, Newcastle warmed up for this with a 2-1 home defeat against Fulham, whereas Arsenal warmed up with a 5-1 hammering of Manchester City in the Premier League at the weekend. The referee tonight is Simon Hooper, fourth game of the season involving Newcastle for him, and VAR is John Brooks. And if there is a decision to be made, we will hear it on the tannoy tonight, which will be interesting. Will we be the first to do that? We will wait and see. But George, come to you first, mate. How are you feeling about the game? And obviously, we've already chatted a little bit on the fans forum, but what you feeling like after hearing Eddie's press conference, and what changes would you go for?
Well, in typical Eddie, says all the things you'd expect him to say, and one or two more that you think are hints and you're not sure they're hints. So it was a typical Eddie press conference. Excited to be going, and hoping that it's one of those days when we say a game to remember in a happening for Newcastle United that we'll remember as one of the games they'll be able to say, well, I was there. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm nervous because I've always fall back on the same thing, that if the really next Newcastle United turns up, doesn't matter who's on the other side, will win. And that's how I feel tonight, that if the Newcastle United that we know and love turns up, we're fine. If the Newcastle United that came out against Fulham on Saturday turns up, we're going to have a squeaky bum night, but I can live with that as well. This is a game, really, if we've got any ambition at all for cups or trophies or leagues, this is the one we need to win. We need to get through this round to establish that that's where we are. And it's a starting point. It's a jumping off place for me. So I'm excited more than nervous, really. Just can't wait for the game to kick off. And as I say, hoping to see a game that's memorable, and a result that's memorable, and an evening that's an occasion, which is a word I use quite often about going to St James's Park, because that's what it was like when I first started as a kid. my family always made it an occasion. We went to Mark Tony's, we had a coffee in the snack bar, and an OXO at the back of the Gallagher when we got in, and all that sort of thing. So I'm looking for an occasion and something that I can think about and talk about for a long time afterwards.
It's a big call tonight if Joe Linton is sidelined. Looking at Tom's team there, he's chucked Longstaff in. That's what I think will happen if Joe Linton's injured. I don't think he will play Lewis Miley, despite Lewis Miley having a lot of experience in Premier League matches when we had the injury crisis in that Champions League season. Would Longstaff be your choice as well, George?
No, I've got to say, I think I said the other night, my football brain says it should be Miley because he has the attacking abilities that some of the others don't. But then my brain that goes back to Eddie Howe's safety first methods, and that puts Longstaff in. So I wouldn't surprise me if Longstaff was in. But my preferred option would be young Miley. I mean, imagine young Miley hitting the goal like that one he scored against Bromley in a match like this. What it would do for us and what it would do for him. And it's a possibility. But if he's not on the pitch, it's not a possibility. And he's got to be. There's the old saying, if he's good enough, he's old enough. And we're talking about a 70-year-old, and I remember the days of Duncan Edwards, captain in Manchester United at 17 years of age and knocking the world to bits. I'm not saying that the young Miley's a Duncan Edwards, but I still think the way they're beefing him up and give him a yard of pace, it could be that style. So preferred for me personally, Miley, but knowing how safety conscious Eddie is, it'll be Longstaff.
Yeah, okay. Steve, your feelings then? I mean, that team there that Tom put up, it's quite useful. Thanks, Tom. Gives us an idea of what might be in Eddie Howe's mind. I chucked the curveball in on the fans forum. He might play Pope tonight instead of Dubravka, especially after 2 home defeats. A lot of people calling for Willock because he's had 2 good games against Arsenal this season. And again, the centre-halves is the interesting topic of conversation among some in the chat, with Shaw and Byrne, of course, being in Tom's team there. But a lot of people saying maybe Botman is better, for this game. But no 2 games are the same. You can't look at the Arsenal games and go, well, Willock had a good game in those 2, so he's going to have a good game in this one. He hasn't particularly performed well, in the home games where he's come on. What's your feeling, Steve? How are you feeling going into it?
I'm looking forward to it. Steve, looking forward to it immensely. This is what being a Newcastle supporter is supposed to be all about, going into semi-finals, going in without any fear, because that's the way the players need to go into it. That's the way the fans need to go into it. We are the 12th man tonight, there's no doubt about it. And the noise that we can create and the atmosphere that we can create and the fear that we can put into the opposition when we are on song and when the players come out from the start, showing that they are in exactly the same frame of mind, is what it's all about. That's what I've been dreaming of for years as a Newcastle United supporter. It's going to be an interesting pre-match because George is going to be sitting there going, I hope Miley's playing, and I'm sitting next to him going, I hope it's Longstaff, I hope it's Longstaff. But in terms of the other situations that we've got, they're quite interesting, aren't they? Do you bring Pope back in? Dubravka conceding goals again. Is that because we've had a shuffling around in front of him over the last few weeks?
Maybe.
Shaw, I don't think playing at his best. Is his place in jeopardy? And would Botman come back in? What about Livramento? Would Livramento start, or would he go with the experience of Trippier? That's another one, another curveball I'll throw in. And obviously, you've mentioned Willock there. I thought Willock's had some poor games when he's come on. I don't think Willock, mainly because of the way when Willock comes on, it has to shuffle everything around. I noticed on Saturday that Bruno, for example, played in about 2 or 3 different positions as the midfield moved around. Bruno seems to be one that either has to drop back or has to go forward or gets moved across. Maybe that's because he's the captain. But Willock was certainly wanting to take up that left-hand side position, but tended to drift in, and I thought we got a little bit congested. I thought it meant that we played a bit of a more short midfield passing game that really didn't come off. And Anthony Gordon hasn't been at his best for the last few games, although he has been, he has picked up a goal here and there. And I thought on Saturday Isaac was really off touch, but we didn't feed him. So there's a lot of things that Eddie's got to think about. But the squad this is the biggest test I think that the squad's had. I think what will prove tonight is whether this squad does have the winning mentality. And if it doesn't have the winning mentality and we end up as being the first team in recent years to concede a lead from a first leg after winning away from home, and I think that would then send question marks about the squad. But certainly, we all know the depth of the squad, but the quality of the squad, because if you're a professional footballer, these are the games that you've got to go into and you've got to win. You're 2-0 up. It's half time. You've got 90 minutes to play, and you've got to show every single sinew in your body is black and white through and through for to get us across the line. And then they've got to do it all again when they get to Wembley. But across that, we'll come to it, Steve. Let's just concentrate on tonight.
Yeah, let's concentrate on tonight. Get your scarves as well if you're going to the match tonight. But take your voices. I think that's the message that we try to put across. And we had quite a few people asking us for rallying calls. Certainly, I had a couple of inboxes from people, Paul Chollerton, Junior Turner, asking if I could persuade Mitch or Stu to come up with something as well. So the three of us did something this morning. We all had time. And Mitch, yours was 4 minutes long, so it went out as a video. You've certainly got quite a few people out there riled up, ready to create some noise, which is great. The comments, thank you to everybody who watched and commented on them. I did push them across all of our social medias as well, so they've had a wide range in opinions, but everybody liked them. So thanks for doing that, Mitch. But yeah, these games is what it's all about, isn't it?
Had some good feedback myself as well, and apparently there's some lads who are already in the town saying the town's already bouncing, so you cannot fault that, really.
Brilliant.
It's the way we should be headed. If we cannot get up for this game, there'll be no game we'll ever get that squad up for. And we'll have to treat it as it is. They will come at us. They'll be full of their arrogant little selves after the weekend. But maybe that will just be their downfall because they'll come thinking they can do this and do that. Well, they're coming to our turf. They're coming to St James's Park. It's a place they don't like coming. And our manager better have his excuses ready because that's what he's going to be scrambling for. If we can just put it together like we know we can, nobody likes coming here. Or coming to St James's Park, yeah, Dubai. Everybody seems to love coming to Dubai, but nobody likes coming to St James's Park on a midweek night. We proved that in the Champions League, even. And I think wouldn't it be fitting to see the player who started all that off go out the door, and maybe somebody take up the mantle from this point on? And make tonight their night. Yes, John, everybody's welcome to Dubai Mags, except Mackems, obviously. There's an opportunity here tonight for somebody to make a name for themselves. There's an opportunity tonight for somebody to write their names into potentially the Newcastle history books. Who wouldn't want to grasp that? Be that Willock or Miley coming in, and I've got to say I would bring Willock in because I always think Willock makes Isaac a better player, and I think Isaac's going to need some support tonight. And I see Willock as where that support comes from when he's on his game. He hasn't looked great coming off the bench. I will absolutely agree with that. But it's a different game. It's a different atmosphere. It's a different set of circumstances entirely. And I think everybody on and off the pitch, exactly right, Tim, needs to get stuck into these entitled little shithouses who think they're clever. The irony was not lost on me, the whole stay humble thing, that not only did they not stay humble, they doubled down on it. And that comes from the manager, that comes from the guy at the top, who, when we went to the Emirates and won 2-0, tried to blame it on the football being sticky. Did he cover it with your glue, like? Idiot. You know. And he never, ever accepts a defeat. There's always a reason. You know, the grass is too green, the sky's too blue, it was a Wednesday, whatever. And that's what I like, and that's what we've got to remember. They don't, to quote a favourite old TV programme of mine, they don't like it up them. So we need to stick it up them at every chance we bloody well can. And while I remember, cheers, everyone.
Stu, you were talking a lot about semis this morning. Most people, because it was a morning, got the wrong end of the stick. But yeah, got back on track once
So
to
did
watch the
Mr.
video. Yeah.
I guess an afternoon show.
What's your feelings, and mate, going into tonight?
Well, I want to ask everyone who hasn't watched Mitch's video this morning. Once he puts that coffee mug down, I said to him, anyhow, we should just clip that and play it in front of the team tonight before they go out. And that would be the perfect way for them to go out and understand what it means to us as a set of fans. I thought it was a fantastic video, Mitch. I don't mind saying it publicly. Well done, mate. So, but just to keep the Neil Mitchell fan club going, I'm in total agreement that I think if Joe Linton's not playing, I think it should be Willock. And not because it's Arsenal or he's played a good game against them last year or whatever. There was a word that Eddie Howe used in his press conference, which was athleticism. And out of the three choices, he's the one with the most athleticism, but also the phrase that I've used or adopted over the last few months is horses. Right? 4 behind Mitch, you're catching up. Horses for courses. And we know that Willock plays in that role. So imagine if you start playing Miley on the left or Longstaff on the left, you're playing them in unaccustomed roles, and we need to keep the players to as much as what they used to as possible to be able to create to create the environment, to create the atmosphere, to create the performance of anything that we're all hoping to do. Now, me, I was like a kid before, kid at Christmas Eve last night. I went to sleep maybe it's about 2. I've been up since 5 o'clock Bahrain time, which is 2 o'clock in the morning your time. But not because I'm worried. It's nervous anticipation. You know, like, has Santa been? Because you know he's gonna be there. You know you're gonna get your presents, and I know that we're gonna qualify for the final. So it's excitement, it's expectation more than anything else. And what I like is since Arsenal beat Manchester City, there's been a strong swell of support that Arsenal are going to turn us over. And like I said in my little short this morning, we're 2 goals to the good. We're not trying to chase the game. We're not 2-1 down. We're not 2-0 down. We're not level. We're 2 goals up. So they have to score 3 past us. Yes, they're capable of it, but we're capable of putting 3 past them as well. And sometimes we forget what a good team we actually have. And I had a good call with Mitch earlier today. And irrespective of Eddie Howe's presentations and his press conferences, that the next game is the most important one. Every single player knows, especially the top players, this is our chance to get silverware for this club. And it's been in the back of the mind. We'll go easy. And people have said Joe Linton's been off form. I think he has as well, but I think he's been more conscious of not getting the 2 yellow cards to miss it. Now, you might miss it through injury, but there's been things like that. Their focus, whether they like it or not, or whether we like it or not, or the manager likes it or not, has been on this game. They've done half a job, and they're more than capable of finishing it. I haven't seen anything from Arsenal. After 60 minutes against Man City, you would expect Man City to win that game. They fell apart at the end, and Arsenal took advantage of it. Fair play to them. But it's a freak result. It's not something that they've been doing consistently. And we know they don't like it up here. And another thing I said to Mitch, all of a sudden the media have built up their young players, the right winger, the left back, to be the next Elliot, or, you know, they've built them up to be superstars already because they've had a couple of good games. And I won't use the exact terminology I used to Mitch. I says, but these lot have heard nothing like the atmosphere they're going to experience tonight. When you've got someone's granny shouting and swearing at them and telling them how bad they are at football from yards away, it's going to be a huge eye opener for them, and they'll be rattled. And we can rattle them as supporters. The ones who are there can rattle them. And the fact that now the bookies have made us underdogs, the public's made us underdogs, we're not fancied. And that's perfect for us because that plays in our hands. That's what we do best. It's when we're expected to win. If you look at the last few results, when we're expected to win, we don't. When we've got something to prove, there's that galvanisation amongst the team. Let's go and do this. And I think we'll see a top performance from Newcastle United tonight. I expect Botman to play because the defence does need tweaking, and he has that height advantage. He has that steal, and I think you put him against Havertz, and you'll see Havertz kicking away and getting sent off. There'll be Shaw could get bullied of him. Botman's not going to get bullied of anyone in that team. And I just then go back to the saying that we all said. Do you know what? I was driving home and I was listening to that Restless Football with Shearer and Lineker, and it's next year, it's 30 years since Shearer signed for us. How old does that make us feel? But Shearer's time. Remember the Old Trafford semi-final when he scored when he scored them both. And that second goal, the phrase that was used then, "Cometh the hour, cometh the man." Well, he's passing that on to Isaac now, and I think today's got old school feel about it. And as I will repeat what I said on my little short this morning, sing your heart out for the lads. Every one of you who are going in that ground tonight, be blessed, be proud, be privileged, and do everyone justice who's unable to get there for whatever reason, whether it's location, whether it's finance, whether it's unavailability of tickets. You're in a privileged position tonight. Go out there and cheer every tackle, boo every pass that they make, get into the faces, and for as long as possible, and we'll win this game tonight.
Okay, say just a short show. We just wanted to give a little bit of an addition to the rallying call. George, come to you now for a prediction. How do you see this going tonight?
I said the other night when we're on 2-1, and I'd stick by that. 2-1 to us.
Okay, 2-1, Steve.
I was going to go for 2-1 as well.
2-1 for Steve as well. Mitch, how are you feeling prediction-wise?
I'm going to go for a penman this evening. It's probably the Jägermeister's kicking in.
It's infectious, isn't it?
3-1. 3-1. All right. What about you, Stu?
Of course, I've had a bet on 3-1, but I honestly think we'll score first, and I think we'll win 4-1.
4-1. All right. Well, I've got to change my mind.
I honestly think they'll pull. If we go score the first, they're not going to score 4 goals, and they'll drop shoulders, and they'll take the best players off to rest them, etc. And we'll go nap.
I'm going to go for a draw.
Same score as PSG, 4-1.
4-1. Well, I'm going for a 1-1 tonight rather than a 2-1 defeat, which is what I predicted on Monday. So yeah, it's going to be tight, but we're going to get through. And everybody who's going tonight, we'll just repeat it and reiterate it. Take your scarf if you've got one, and take your voice, most importantly. Enjoy it wherever you're watching it in the world. And if you're there, sing your heart out for the lads. We will be back tomorrow night with Ask Gibbo, 6 o'clock. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks for joining us tonight, gents. Enjoy it. And Steve, George, see you soon. Take care.
Yeah.
Enjoy everyone. Thank you.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk, email info@mrvickies.co.uk, or telephone 01768 210 102. A big thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. All excursions included. Find them at their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email them at beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. You can find them at their website, media-arts.co.uk. If you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network. You can also find us on iTunes, Spotify, and your other podcast providers. If you want to help support the channel, hit the thumb up, which is the like button. Click share to share to your other social medias. Click join to join the channel. And click the subscribe button. We've also got links in our description for buy us a coffee and to be a Patreon member. Some events coming up. An afternoon with Sir Les Ferdinand, 6th of April, 12 till 4. Tickets available from ticketmaster.co.uk. No Covers takes place at the Clooney, Lilac Lane, Ryder and the Chris Norris Band. Tickets from theclooney.com or by telephoning 0191 230 4474. An evening with Steve Howie and Steve Watson, hosted by Joe Allen, takes place at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 27th of June. Tickets for that are from newcastlelegends.com. An evening with Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House on the 23rd of January 2026. Box office 0844 246 1000 or website tynetheatreandoperahouse.tv. An evening with Bad Manners takes place on Friday the 30th of January 2026 and tickets available from ticketmaster.co.uk. And we have copies of The Entertainers 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, available from newcastlelegends.com.